When I launched into space aboard the space shuttle to help assemble the International Space Station, I wasn't thinking about my spacesuit's contract vehicle or the system engineering process behind our docking adapter. I was thinking about executing the mission and honestly trying to make sure I did not screw up. And I could focus because I had full confidence in the spacecraft and equipment. That trust didn't happen by accident. It was built through rigorous acquisition across engineering, testing, program management, contracting, logistics, and cost estimation. Now, say you wanted to take a picture like this. How would you do it? Well, take Hubble. During our servicing mission, I installed the advanced camera for surveys, a breakthrough in imaging that transformed astronomy. But what made that possible wasn't just rocket science, it was acquisition science. It was the ability to translate operational needs into technical requirements, to contract for precision components, to test under extreme conditions, and to manage risk across a global supply chain. Okay, we made a little mistake when grinding that first mirror, but we were able to fix it by going back and putting in corrective optics, more acquisition science. Now, this image reminds us of what's at stake: our ability to see, decide, and act faster than our adversaries. To deliver relevant capability at speed and scale, we need acquisition rules and systems that evolve. And we need a force of professionals, trained and empowered, who understand how to lead across the full acquisition lifecycle. That's where NPS and the Acquisition Research Program come in. NPS is the only institution educating acquisition professionals in a defense-relevant, graduate-level setting. And this symposium is where research, policy, and practice converge. It's my pleasure to introduce doctoral candidate, NPS doctoral candidate Major Dillon Pierce. He will now take a moment and dive into one such possible innovation, a cost capability inversion model that could help reshape how we develop warfighter capabilities, such as small, low-cost missiles. It is an example of how innovations in acquisition can flip the script. We'll always need exquisite capabilities and exquisite acquisitions, but there is room and need for non-traditional acquisition as well. Major Pierce.
Thanks, sir. As Dr. Newman mentioned, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Major Dillon Pierce. I am a Marine Corps active duty infantry officer and space operations officer by trade, and currently a PhD candidate in the astronautical engineering program at the Naval Postgraduate School. As a warm-up for today's great agenda, the purpose of my presentation is to provide a brief overview of my dissertation research and follow-on assignment, and to highlight some of the unique ways we're thinking about technology transition to the warfighter at NPS. As a brief background, I'm a graduate in 2019 of the Master of Space Systems Operations program at the Naval Postgraduate School. And importantly, for my utilization tour, was the Space Capabilities Integration Officer at Headquarters Marine Corps Combat Development Integration, where I had the distinct pleasure of instantiating the material space capabilities portfolio for the service, authoring functional concepts, requirements documents, and transitioning multiple programs from S&T ideas to programs of record. I say importantly because it was here that I established the foundational experience where I saw firsthand the gaps between warfighter needs, acquisition pace, and the technical feedback loops, which led to my doctoral research focused on bridging them. For my dissertation, I specifically sought to close capability and capacity gaps in our guided missile inventory through a novel approach to guided missile development, which traded selected performance parameters for orders of magnitude reduction in costs and increase in production capacity. Highlighting the figure in the bottom left right there, I'm talking about going from traditionally high-performing, exquisite systems but with high unit costs and limited production capacity, to a space on the bottom right of high production capacity, low unit cost, and moderate capability. This would be achieved through a framework that draws inspiration from agile development practice and lean development and resource-constrained innovation with 4 key tenets: rapid iterative development, incremental capability building, commercial component integration, and resource-aware design. Now, as you just heard from my dissertation supervisor, Dr. Newman, it's not just enough to theorize about these capabilities. We actually have to prove it and empirically validate it. So I wasn't able just to theorize about the model. Unfortunately, this was an engineering dissertation, so I have to demonstrate the efficacy by actually building a guided missile system myself using these principles. So that's exactly what I did. And over the course of 43 test flights, 3 capability increments, in 18 months, I created a GPS-guided missile system at a unit cost of under $5,000 with a total cost of under $300,000 for development using consumer-grade components and materials, things we can buy readily off of the internet. This demonstrates that complex missile systems, and by extension defense systems, can be developed quickly and cheaply by a small team or even an individual when the process is lean, focused, and test-centric. And now, some fun this morning, I'd like to show you the final test demonstration of the GPS-guided capability, which shows the launch of the missile system right here. So unfortunately, we don't have sound for the video, so I'll talk you through it. We have the launch of the system right here. The missile itself achieves a velocity of approximately Mach 1.3 and an apogee altitude of about 7,000 feet, launched at a relatively steep angle for the short target distance. You'll see a little bit of controller retuning necessary at apogee right here as it's going relatively slow. And as it regains aerodynamic control, you see the target marked by a blue tarp come into view. And I paused the final result, and it ended up doing pretty well. And if you'd like to know more about the final results of the impact test, please contact me. So maybe the most important part of this is, in order to operationalize the model and transition from what was a feasibility study in the dissertation to a scaled innovation approach, we're establishing a new construct at the Naval Postgraduate School, which will remain at NPS, but be OPCON to Marine Corps Combat Development Integration. And this unique construct will embed a capability developer, myself, into a hands-on development loop enabled by academic and strong industry partners to build and shape solutions directly against evolving operational needs. The goal of this is to break from traditional serial development approaches to an integrated iterative approach where the acquisition burden is front-loaded to in development, requirements generation, concepts of employment, RMF artifact generation, transition SAMP plans for the program managers, to build consolidated acquisition packages for transitions directly to the warfighter or to our systems commands and PEOs. In conclusion, this isn't about replacing traditional acquisition, but rather complementing it with a faster, more adaptable layer of capability development, and recognizing that the cost-performance curve can be inverted when we rethink who builds, how we build, and how fast we learn. Thank you for your time, and I'll on discussion or questions in the forum today. Sir, back over to you.